We have determined that being different doesn't mean being loud. Removing your competitors takes more than just, an up in volume. Like removing your competitors actually means resonating with your clients, with your target audience, not being the loudest. So if the point is in resonating with your audience, if the point is in, connecting with your audience, then the answer to how to get more customers, how to convert them into paying clients is not in us, not in our product, not in our marketing. The answer is in the customers. And that's why you should know your audience. You should really know who they are and what do they want to do. Like what are their pains, needs, all of that. Because it's not about being loud. It's not like this knowledge, this resonance will not come from your product. It will be created between your product and the audience. So you need to know your product really well, but you need to know the audience as well. So in this episode, that's what we're going to be talking about, your audience, how to get to know them, what you need to know about them, how to make them care about you and your differentiation. So if you want to stand out, if you want to resonate with your audience, watch on, because this is what we're going to be talking about. So the audience, like most of my posts have something to do about, companies not spending enough time with their clients, with their customers, with their audience, because if they did, essentially they wouldn't need me, right? Customers pretty much have all the answers, and I know that you didn't wake up this morning and say, I really want to make my audience interested today. I know this is not your wish, but I know that your wish is, I wish people engage with our social media. We do a lot of content. I wish they engage with that. I wish they found it interesting, and I wish they contacted me or the company about our product, or I wish they converted into a funnel. I wish that people actually cared about what we do. I wished they cared about my product. I wish they came into our product and be happy with it, and obviously happy to pay for our product as well. And these are all challenges that you typically have if you don't know your customers enough. Essentially, if you don't know how to be different in a way that they care about, you won't manage to convert them into paying customers. You won't manage to create content in the long run that would resonate with the right audience and get you the right inbound leads, the right people into your product, right? So I think that because this season is all about differentiation, I think it does deserve a thought or two about, people who actually pay our bills, so our customers, our clients. And so essentially, here goes. One Message Away podcast is a podcast on solving marketing-related problems in your company, helping you connect with relevant audiences, convert them into paying customers, and becoming a leader in your niche. The podcast drops in seasons. Each season is focused on one specific topic. In the first season, we talk about how to eliminate your competition, how to stand out. Everything is supported by expert interviews, my work, my stories, my experience having worked with more than 30 companies one-on-one and more than 300 companies through workshops, helping them become leaders in their niche. Want to become a niche leader? Subscribe and get unique content to your inbox every 14 days on a Saturday. So the first point in why you should really know your audience is because if your messaging is not targeted specifically at the right audience, it will fail. And it will fail because there is so much noise out there that obviously we are struggling to get, our messages across. The markets are saturated. So that means we have to be not just loud, we also need to be very, very deliberate in our messaging. So think about your behavior, your past behavior. Think about the products that you actually bought and think about what made you buy them, right? And it's going to come down to something resonated deeply, either you saw an ad that was specifically talked about your use case in such a detail that it was like they knew you, right? And that's the level of knowledge that you need on your customers if you want them to not ignore you, if you want them to click on your ads, if you want them to come onto landing pages and then convert into paid customers and be happy customers in your product and keep using using your product. And that messaging has to be connected all across the funnel. It's not just about, your product. It's about your ads, your landing pages, your retargeting ads, your blog posts, your content, whatever you're doing, your products, your funnel in the product. So your onboarding, your tutorials, like you have to speak their language, and that's difficult if you don't know your customers. And the problem with a lot of companies, even at the level of companies that are making 50 million a year, is that they try to templatize our behaviors into PDF files that are then forgotten on our Google Drives and Microsoft Teams drives, like SharePoints, because we cannot do that. We cannot templatize a person's behavior. Like it's that doesn't work anymore. Like online has so much potential right now. So there are so many opportunities, so many different products on the market, that how can you templatize that into a single PDF saying that, oh, this person has 6 dogs, so they must be our customer, because just last week we had a person with 6 dogs and they converted, right? It doesn't work that way. People are not templates. We are not templates. And so that's why you cannot put simply, a couple of, wants and needs and whatnot into a PDF and then forget all about it. Essentially, right, in my 10 years of experience in marketing, I'm pretty sure now that persona PDFs are essentially just tools for agencies so that they have something to sell in the beginning because they look nice. That's their purpose. Essentially, to come into your company, they have to start somewhere. Essentially, they have to learn about your processes. They have to learn, the agency has to understand your processes, your business, your markets, your industry. And in that audit, they produced a PDF document that they would have to do it for themselves anyway, and they try to sell you that document as something that they did. But in reality, it was just their research, because those PDF files that you get, they're pretty much useless because nobody's actually looking at them. And in my experience, for example, I worked with a couple of companies that had, they were really meticulous about their research. They were doing a lot of research, paying a lot of outside consultants to do market research, to do interviews, to do, customer interviews, surveys, and so on. They were doing that on a monthly basis. And the problem was nobody actually took a look at that, made an analysis and spread that analysis across the company. And so why are you doing that? Why are you doing research if you're not using it to boost your sales? Research is supposed to be there to inform your business decisions and your sales decisions and your marketing decisions. And if you're not doing that, it's just useless. It's just time and money thrown away. So make research work for you. Now, the reality is that there is no right or wrong answer on how to do that research and what kind of data you need for your target audience to actually get to the point and say, okay, this is all the data we need. In reality, it's all about the process. It's all about staying in touch with your customer segments, with your customers, and then building on that knowledge so that you have the when you internalize that knowledge, that you get a gut feel that's obviously documented as well, that you can spread across the company so that the whole company understands where the product needs to go, that they understand the key elements of the persona and what are we actually selling. Because there is a crucial element of building your persona, or whatever you want to call it, and that is that people need, your clients, they need to care about why you're different, and they need to be prepared to pay for that differentiation, right? If you're different but your customers don't care about that, you do not have a differentiated product. For example, if I was a car manufacturer and only did gray cars, that's different. Nobody cares about that. They're not buying my cars because of it, right? And there is a lot of times that my clients try to slip into our messaging frameworks some of that, let's say that we're doing a website and they try to slip in something like, oh, how we are different, we are environmentally friendly, or, our product is locally made. Who cares? Most people are not prepared to pay for those things. Most people are not prepared to pay to save the planet. Most people are not prepared to change their habits to save the planet. If that were true, nobody would be using phones anymore, right? We would throw them away, or we would at least not change them every year or every couple of years. Because, if we change our phone every year, there is much more, plastic in the world. There is much more, chips being produced and so on. So, like, if we wanted to save the planet, we would actually have to, change our spending habits. Are we willing to do that? No, we're not. And at the same time, so essentially this is why your customers don't want to pay for your environmentally friendly or locally sourced product unless you're meat, right? But like I was involved in a research, and about 60% of people say that they want to save the planet, or that they care about environmentally friendly, but only 8% are actually prepared to add $1 to their purchase to fund an organization that will plant trees or something. So 60% people say that they're willing to do this. 8% of people are actually doing it. So that essentially just means that a lot of people are bullshitters. That's what that means. People are not going to be, unless your mission is to save the planet, stop putting that into your differentiation. That's not the differentiation criteria. That's the elimination criteria. Essentially, if you have two equal products, they have to be completely equal on pricing and everything. The person will discard the one that's not environmentally friendly, for example. But they both have to be same products, same quality, same price, same everything. Otherwise, it doesn't work unless you have it as part of the mission. But having it as part of the mission means, for example, this works for Tesla. And why it works for Tesla? Simply because they have, if we actually switched to green electricity and we switched all the fuel cars to fuel-powered cars to electric cars that now use green electricity, in that case, we could potentially save the planet. That could theoretically at least work. But it has to be a massive shift, right? Chances are you do not have that mass change if you're creating, something that's a microsas or something that is going to be at the end of the day used by 5,000 people. It's not affecting the whole planet, so it's not part of your mission. So your story doesn't hold up. And so if you create a physical product that's created from, recycled plastic, that's great, but people are not prepared to pay for that. They're not prepared to pay extra for that. That's not the only differentiation that you can have, because you're going to fail big time. Your product needs to be differentiated in a way that people care about and are willing to pay for. Otherwise, the differentiation doesn't work. So if that doesn't work, what does work? Well, you need to have the right data on the customers. All right, so how do you know if you have enough and the right data on your clients? Step one, define the questions you need answering, right? So for example, in one of the companies that I've been working with, we needed to understand whether we can add an additional service to the company to maximize the company valuation. So, we need to understand user behaviors. What are they thinking when they're buying? Are they willing? Do we have the permission to sell them something else, right? And so those were our questions, and we found that we cannot answer them, right? So when you have the questions that you cannot answer, what you need to do is get the answers to those questions. So in our example, we combined post-purchase service with interviews with existing clients and interviews with the ICP group that we had in mind, so that we gathered the data and we learned about, the customer behaviors, their needs, their wants, and can we offer them something else? Are people prepared to pay for that? So these are essentially the 3 steps that you need to do if you want to know everything there is to know about your customers that relates to your business, right? So 1, figure out what kind of data you have. Only count validated data, validated research, and data that's accurate and obviously relevant to the questions that you have. So you need to have the questions, you need to have the data that's relevant and validated, then figure out what data is missing, what am I missing, what kind of questions do I need the answers to, and then go data hunting and find those answers. Once you have that data, you will know how to sell better, how to better position yourselves, how to differentiate from your competition. You need to make differentiation work for you, right? So you cannot just take something that someone else did. So for example, a competitor is going green, so now we have to go green as well. It doesn't work like that. Check it with, like, when you have a decision like that to make. So for example, let's say that the competitor adds a green line to their product portfolio, right? And then you have two options. You can follow, but then you will be the follower. So, you know, they will be credited with being a niche leader in that. And you don't want to be a follower because you'll only get about 20-25% of business at best. The second option is to actually validate that point, right? So you need to understand whether there is an actual need on the market for that green line. Because if it is, then you can figure out, okay, so how can we make this product green in a way that's different from our competitors that our clients care about and are willing to pay for it. But if it's not, you're saving time and money, right? And so that's how you answer those kinds of questions, and that's how you build meaningful differentiation for your customers. Next, we'll be talking about emails. If you liked the episode, do let me know. Subscribe, follow, like, all of the buttons. If you didn't like it, tell me as well. I'm not gonna care, but just like write in the comments that you hated me. Do let me know what kind of content you'd like to see. I'm preparing season 2 as we speak, so you know, do let me know what you want to hear about. Like, what are your biggest challenges? Write in the comments and let me know your challenges so I can address them in season 2. Next, we'll be talking about email. We have a great guest coming up, so stick around and, you know, watch the next video. May your customers love you and understand your products.